So, mother ease or baby talk, I believe, is super important to just establishing a child's language acquisition skills. The way that I speak to my now 8 month old is just key to him understanding the important elements of speech, which my hope is to support him in being able to ultimately communicate. And I would say, though, that I use more baby talk with my infant since my 5 year old is such a great communicator that motherese or baby talk is really not needed for her. But I did use a lot of baby talk with my daughter, who is currently 5, when she was an infant. And I feel that that definitely helped to support her to be a great communicator now. So there are a lot of differences in the way that I communicate with my 8 month old versus my 5 year old. So, for example, with my infant, I'm using so much more inflection in my voice. I'm using a lot of repetition, especially of certain words that I want him to fully grasp and be able to use later on. I'm also simplifying or shortening certain words that I want him to understand. For example, like instead of saying dad or daddy, he's saying dada. Or I want him to say mama, which I hope he will soon. So all he says is dada. But I'm simplifying mommy and making mama since I know certain syllables are hard for infants to use. So shortening words and breaking up certain words into shorter digestible syllables for infants is so important. And then I'm also using exaggerated speech as well. So if I'm reading him a story or I want to use inflection or exaggeration for a certain item that he's never seen before or a certain thing that he's never seen, like a horse, like, oh, look at the horsey. So I think that's really beneficial in just children's overall development and understanding. So I am currently getting my master's degree in educational psychology in order to become a school psychologist, and I'm in my second year of my 3 year program, and currently I'm interning. And just to give you a little backstory, school psychologists, they are truly, truly critical members of schools and school teams. And overall, they provide support for teachers, students, and parents. And we have a expertise in mental health, behavior, academics, and just overall in education. And school psychologists help children succeed academically, emotionally, and socially. And currently, I'm interning at the kinder through 8th grade level. So I'm working with an elementary school, working with kinder through 5th grade students, and then at a middle school, supporting 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Um, and in addition to working in the school setting, school psychologists can work at hospitals, clinics, pediatric clinics, working in community centers, criminal justice systems, or in private practice as well. And we are ultimately leaders that are striving to create safe and responsive and supportive learning environments for school age children. Um, right now, in my position as an intern, I'm providing groups counseling for students who are going through mental health difficulties. I'm providing assessments to see if students qualify for special education services. I'm providing crisis support at the school level or school wide level, and also academic intervention for students who may need support in reading, writing, and in math. Let's see. So you also asked me about the jargon within the field of school psychology. The jargon is so important. If you're not a part of the community, I think you really would not know a lot of the important just defining elements of communication or the jargon. I think the jargon is just so important in being effective in interning right now in my position. Um, and it's essential for me being able to collaborate and communicate with other stakeholders within the school setting. So being able to communicate with students, parents, administration, teachers, and other school psychologists. So jargon is truly important. So some of the jargon within the realm of special education, within the field of school psychology, and within the realm of education, you might hear a lot of acronyms. So IEP, which stands for Individualized Education Plan, SPED, which is an acronym for special education, RTI, which is response to intervention, RSP, which is the resource program, IDEA, which is um, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, CDE, which is the California Department of Education, since I do work in California, FAPE, which is Free Appropriate Public Education, SLP. I mean, I can go on and on and on. So the jargon that I would say that is really makes up a bulk of the field of school psychology is a lot of acronyms. So I would say the jargon within the field of school psychology, like I stated before, is just so important. And my master's program is just preparing me to be effective in using that jargon and in just, like I stated before, communicating with all of the important stakeholders that I need to work with so that, I'm informed and I have an understanding of how to communicate that jargon to parents or to anyone who may not know and be an expert in the field. So jargon is just essentially important, especially in the field of education. So when I think about African American vernacular English or Ebonics, I'm just thinking about the historical implications of our language and how it's developed so vastly. We were brought from the shores of Africa to uh, different parts of the world, particularly America, and we really were stripped of our language and we had to invent, our own language and our own way to communicate. So I feel like Ebonics or AAVE is just so important for our history as a people, for our culture, and it's an important way for us to communicate with each other within our culture. And it's also a great form of self expression. We're able to, express ourselves and who we are as a people through our through AAVE, our vernacular English or Ebonics.